Welcome to Hope Natural Health, the podcast inspiring you to be your best version. Join me, your host, Dr. Erin, naturopathic doctor, dog mom, cancer survivor, and girl boss weekly as we discuss all things health, hormones, and happiness with a little side of this thing called life. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with another new episode. Last week, we discussed all about stress and how we can break the stress cycle. And today, I'm going to be talking about vagal tone. What is vagal tone? It's the activity of the vagus nerve, which is the main nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest, and counterbalances the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. You can think of it as a key to letting stress roll off your back. The vagus nerve wanders from the brain to all the organs, branching off with thousands of nerve fibers. So it goes all the way from the top of the brain down to like our gut. What's really cool is the vagus nerve communicates in both directions, both to and from the brain. Here's 5 ways that vagal tone affects our health. 1, our heart health. The vagus nerve directly innervates the heart, influencing heart rate and blood pressure. Heart rate variability is a direct measure of vagal tone, with a higher HRV indicating better vagal tone. Fascinating, right? 2, our metabolic health. The vagus nerve communicates from the brain to the gut, liver, pancreas, and then back again. It helps to regulate hunger, insulin, blood sugar, lipids, and inflammation. Studies have even linked vagal tone with diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and obesity. 3rd would be our mood. The vagus nerve is thought to affect mental health through mechanisms related to stress, the gut-brain axis, and inflammation. Vagal nerve stimulation has been researched in people struggling with depression. 4th would be digestion. Gut hormones and neurotransmitters trigger nerve endings in the vagus nerve to send signals back to the brain. In turn, the vagus nerve regulates gut motility, secretions, and more. This is what we call the gut-brain axis. And 5th would be healthy aging. Vagal tone may decrease with age, affecting everything from the heart to the gut to inflammation. In functional medicine, we're all about looking deeper for the root cause and using the least invasive approaches for the most effective results. So vagal tone is not considered a, quote, cause of disease, but we are learning more and more about how it affects nearly every aspect of health. Plus, there's actually some simple and free ways to improve your vagal tone. As I mentioned, it helps regulate everything from heart rate to gut motility to inflammation to mood. When you increase your vagal tone, you send a signal of safety to all of your organs so they can function at their best. Here are some ways that are actually backed by science to tone the vagal nerve. First would be deep breathing. So that's why meditation is so helpful, because we're actually going into that more parasympathetic state instead of that sympathetic fight or flight. Yoga can also bring us into that parasympathetic state and stimulate and tone the vagus nerve. Massage, again, you can see all of these can actually be relaxing to the body, which can then tone the vagus nerve. Exercise, cold water plunge will actually tone the vagus nerve, and nutrition can play a role as well. Foods that can actually increase the vagal tone through the gut-brain axis would include adding fiber or fiber-rich foods that send signals through the vagus nerve to the brain and back to slow gut movements and make us feel full. The Mediterranean diet has actually been backed in research that is associated with the higher heart rate variability, which is a measure of good vagal tone. Probiotics, omega-3 fatty acids, and B vitamins also improve heart rate variability too. Another thing that can actually help bring us into a parasympathetic state and tone the vagus nerve is gargling. So if you're ever feel anxious or feel like you're more stuck in a fight or flight, just sit back and pretend like you're gargling, and you're going to stimulate, not pretend, but actually gargle, and you're going to stimulate that vagal nerve and, help your body get into that parasympathetic state. All of these work because the vagus nerve communicates in both directions, both to and from our brain. So these practices will send signals to the brain that increase the activity of that good old vagus nerve. So that means no more fight or flight and a lot more rest and digest, which is where we want to be most of the time. So as I mentioned, it regulates everything from our heart health to our metabolic health to immune function, and is strongly influenced by what is going on in our gut. That means that anything you do or eat is going to affect our gut health, and it will also likely probably affect our vagal tone. I really hope you found something new in this podcast. I haven't talked about the vagus nerve or vagal tone before, and I was excited to share it with you because it's another thing that's super important to be in more of the rest and digest and the fight or flight. And since stress is such a big component to a lot of our lives, you can try some of these ways to tone the vagus nerve and let me know how you feel. I look forward to seeing you all again next week.